Well, let's see what we're going to be doing on today's video. We're going to be doing a conversion on a Lectric XP Lite from going to its standard handlebars to one of these new BMX handlebars that everybody seems to be liking. So let's go ahead and get to that and see where it leads us. Okay, my first course of action is I got to get these brake levers off, and I got to get the remote off here as well. The remote's going into the screen. Screen's got to come off itself as well. We're going to do a few things here. Easiest way to get the grips off is get your Allen wrench. We're going to loosen everything up real quick. If I move your Allen wrench to loosen up the brake levers. There we go. Remove the bell. And then I think it's got a hole in the end there. So we're going to put an air compressor in the end here. Blows that right off there. And then let me see if I plug up the hole on this end here with my hand. We should be able to, boom, get that off of there. Yeah, it's one of the smallest ones here. So it looks like it's about a 2. I think that's actually a 2.5 millimeter. The lever off. Now what I just dropped is the shim that goes inside of here. Let me get that off there for the throttle. I think I kept saying shifter. It's not a shifter. We're gonna unplug these real quick. Then wrap the cable hold stuff here. We don't mess it up. Bam, there we go. And that's the pain in the butt part with all this stuff being on here. Come on, come off. There we go. I think, yep, 2.5 mil. To take the remote off. But I have to remove the screen because it's just putting too much pressure on it. And take off the remote, or the screen, you're looking at a 3 mil. Let's get that off there. It's got to come off anyway, so let's just do that. Now, you got to watch out because the nut may fall out the back end here. You don't want to do that. So just make sure you don't lose it. Take those out of there on the side. Don't lose the little rubber shims or adapters. There we go. Pull that off there. Let them hang. Alright, so with this open, you can see there's the top cap right there. There's a little rubber grommet to keep it from the compression bolt. Keep it nice and clean. So I'm going to move that to the side. Drop it on the floor like I always do. With a 5 millimeter Allen wrench, or is it 4? I think it's a 5 millimeter. We're going to go ahead and loosen these up. And if you're using a wire wrench, you won't be able to use a wire wrench to get down into where that cap's at. So we're going to take a regular 5 mil and loosen that just a little bit. And if it's got a Bondus tip, that helps. The Bondus tip being this little rounded style tip. We're going to pull this way. I don't know if you guys can see that, how I'm opening that up there. Pull the loosen up just enough, pull the cap out. We're going to remove that part. Boom, there we go. And for the new stem, what we've got is we're going to pull this piece aside, flip her on open. This piece is going to come out and be able to come out. It's nice and stiff. So we're going to pretty much do the opposite. Now still at an angle where it's going to go sideways. We're going to do some adjustments a little bit later. Push it on there. It's just the reverse. I'm going to put the top cap in. I'm going to tighten it on down. And this is a lot easier since it doesn't have all those other pieces in the way, like on the other one, because this one has a different adjuster right here on the front to be able to adjust the tension of that. So what I want to do is kind of move that straight, so whenever the handlebars are folded, it's going to be just about like that, so it's going to fold away to the side of it. Let's move it a little over that way. So that should be just about right. Should be, quote unquote. Now we're going to snug this. Don't tighten it up too much because this is actually compressing the bearings here. So we're just going to snug it up just enough to where it's going to hold everything still. And then we're going to grab our other handy dandy Allen wrench. And these are going to be a 6mm bolt, bigger. We're going to snug that one down. Snug the back side one down. Go back to this one, snug it down a little bit more. And do this one, snug it down once more. It should be pretty good. I always just double check, make sure that they're both about at the same tension, not too tight. And there you go. That part is installed. Now we're going to go ahead and put this over. When you clamp this thing closed here, it's going to push down on that. Right now it's not very tight. I want it to be tighter than that. So I'm going to take a 5mm Allen wrench, or is it a 4? It's a 4mm. I'm going to tighten it up just a little bit while it's still open. About a quarter turn. See, that feels like it's still a little too easy to pull. So just a tiny bit more. There we go. That feels good. And make sure you push this along the side here. Now this moves really, really easy, so I'm going to take a Phillips head screwdriver and tighten it up just a little bit so that it will not be so loose. No, I can't move it. Boom, boom. Still needs to tighten just a little bit. There we go. That way it won't just accidentally come open. Okay, now this little quick release skewer, or the clamp itself, is pretty loose, but I want to make sure I pull this up, and that little pin is going to go right there in the way, because I'm going to put the stem up here. You can go ahead and you push this in and then push that down if you want. It doesn't really like going back in because it's machined so well, but there it goes. But I would rather have it all the way up. And now let's adjust this to where it feels like it's got a good amount of tension on it. Just a little bit. Still needs to be a little bit tighter. You want to be able to open it. I've got a little bit of Tri-Flow lubricant, Teflon lubricant here. Put a little bit, there's a little brass bushing that's inside of here to keep it from being aluminum on aluminum. If you put a little bit of lubricant on there, it reduces the amount of friction, and then you can usually get it tighter. So if you're worried about it being too loose, we can always do that. Boom, that feels really, really good. And see, I can't just push it open, but if I grab onto it and really pull on it, it opens up good. So there's that part. Let's put the stem on. Allen wrench, it's pretty tight on there. There we go. Pull the top cap on. Now this is not for compression or anything else, it's just more for cosmetics. And this piece that's inside of there has fallen down in there. Let me give you a little closer look at what this is. So we have a wedge. So don't undo it too much. So this has actually got a wedge on it. I unscrewed it all the way and made the other piece drop down in there. So you just want to be able to tighten it up enough so that when it tightens, it'll wedge up inside there. And put the stem on. Get it really close to the end there. Grab my Tri-Allen. Maybe get it right to the top there. Snug it up just enough so it holds on to it. And this has also got this little curvature because inside the stem here, it's also curved for the little curvature that's inside there. So it only goes in one way. Drop that down on in there. Boom, just like so. Tighten up the wedge. And just snug it up. Doesn't need to be too tight. It's starting to look good already. Now this, of course, can slide up and down, but you want it all the way at the top. And I'm looking at it right now. I'm lining it up with the tire. Go all the way up. Snug. 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 All right, with our 6mm, we're going to remove the front plate or front cap, whatever you want to call it. I call it a front plate because this is a front load stem, which means that this is loading from the front. And there's ones that are top load stems, other BMX stems that the plate is on the top and they call it a top load. This is a front load stem. There we go. Pull that off there, make sure all the bolts are in there. It doesn't look like there's any grease on it. On these bad boys I like to put grease. A little dab, just a little bit on the threads in each one of these. And I'm using a full synthetic grease, which you should always use. GT 4-piece bars. Which looks like it has quite a bit of rust on it. So I'm going to give them a good wipe down before I put them on there. I don't want to rust particles going in there. I don't know if it's dirt or rust, but that's what it looked like. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there like so. Now you want to make sure you have a gap here on top and a gap here on the bottom that are exactly the same. That way you know that the plates are parallel to each other when they're smashing down. You don't want it at an angle or this angle. You want them to be perfectly flat like that. So I'm feeling with my fingers on both of these to make sure how far they are. And they feel like they're pretty much even. So then I know that these bolts are going in perfectly straight into the top cap there. And then I'm looking here to make sure that the gnarls that are on the handlebar are about even. Make sure that this is exactly center. So that's about even right there. So it looks pretty good. And always go across the bar to tighten them. Never tighten at the top or the bottom. You always want to go across. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Check your gap. All right, that feels phenomenal. Okay, one thing I noticed when I put this all on here and kind of getting it at the angle that I think we're supposed to be folding it up. I don't know if you guys can see it from the angle that you guys are at, but this is a little bit that way. So I think if I move it to where it's going to be almost straight up and down, it's going to be very difficult to fold this thing over, because I think it needs to be twisted this way in order to get this up more properly. I can't even talk today, but let's see what happens if I go ahead and loosen up the stem bolts here, or the riser adapter bolts. Loosen those up a little bit. See what happens if we move this to where it looks almost like it's, yeah, see how it moves at an angle? I don't know if you guys can see that, but so right there looks like it to be about straight up and down, which isn't going to make it as easy to fold, but that's where it kind of has to be. Let's say about right there. Sorry if my head's in the way, but we're going to try it right there. Give it a good shake, make sure the headset hasn't loosened up. And then let's see how that looks once I tighten everything back up. It's still foldable. It's just when you fold it now, the front wheel is going to be a little bit turned. Let's do that. Looks like it's straight up and down. Now I need to turn this stem here to get the handlebar straight with the rest of the bike. And I'm looking from here all the way down to the front tire. Make sure it's nice and straight. Got everything loosened up again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep twisting this while the stem's on here, while everything's loose. And see, as I hold on to this and I'm turning this, you can see where we're at right there. So I think that looks about right. Let's double check it. All right, that looks a lot better. So it's more flat there to there. All right, so let's tighten all this back up and then we're gonna go from there. And that looks really, really good already. Tighten those up. Let's go ahead and put on the throttle. New throttle. It's a thumb throttle compared to, we had the twist throttle. Now we're going to go to a thumb throttle. The main reason why is because of how much shorter it is, because you're going to have to make up for the grip difference that's on there, because he wants to have equal grips on both sides. Throw that on over there as far as we want. Don't tighten these up yet. Bam. These are nice. Go ahead and put that there, like so. Now these have these little gripper things right there. That's for your fingers. And then the top part is got this little diamond shaped stuff. And you also want the gusset pointing straight up at you as well. Slide that on there. It's like a 3mm little nut there. And then you just tighten it down. You don't have to tighten it up too much. As long as it grips onto it and the grip doesn't move, you're good to go. Feels good there. Do that there. Tighten that one up. There we go. Push the remote back over here. Tighten it up a little bit. Make sure it's at a good angle so you can get it with your thumbs. Same thing with the throttle. I like to put it in a spot and then push down on it and feel where it's going to be most comfortable when it's at its lowest position. Hold it still. And then grab my 3mm again, drop my other wrench. I'll pick that up in a minute. So this is a 3mm. Everything on bikes is metric because everything's made overseas. Now this particular one, since it's plastic, you don't want to tighten it too much, so I'm just using the shorter end and just giving it a good snug. You don't want to over tighten it. It feels phenomenal. Like so. Over it as well. And I'm going to look at both levers, and as I'm looking here, I'm going to make sure they're at about the same angle. Whatever is your primary brake lever you're going to use, set that one first so it feels good, and just match the other one. Because over in some European countries, this is the rear brake. Here in the US, that's the rear brake. So usually try to set the rear brake first and then set the front. I'm going to go underneath here. Now there's a lot of excess wire here, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a twist so that once I wrap it up with this, you won't have all that excess there. So give it a little bit of a twist, because if you have it straight out like this, it's going to be all kind of weird. But if you twist it like this, it automatically wants to do that with you. Now, yellow to yellow. Red for your throttle kill switch on the brake lever. Or it also could be your brake light activation switch. Plug those in. Remember, it's got a little tiny little ting there. And this has only got two little wires there and a little cutout there for that ting. Go in there. They also do have arrows on them that let you know where you're at. And once this is wrapped, I'm going to put some of this white shielding around it as well. You won't be able to see it. Boom. See, it looks pretty clean already. Alright, let's wrap some of this up with this white stuff because it looks good. Oh yeah, so you can't even tell now. Yeah, alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the bolts for this. I'll make sure it's nicely centered. It's easier so you don't lose anything. Push that straight down, hold the nut in your finger here, put it in the hole, and then put the bolt in. Just enough. Same thing with the second one. Put it in, bolts, 3mm Allen wrench, just enough. Move it back like that so it's at a great angle looking right at you. Snug them down. Now again, these are plastic here, so you don't want to wrench them down too much, just enough so it doesn't move. Well, thanks for watching the video for this handlebar conversion on here. I'm going to be doing some more videos on the same exact thing, so keep tuning in for more repair videos and other conversion videos and all kinds of other videos. Take care, guys.